It's just starting to get white out now. What time is it? It's 7:14, so I think sunup's probably, check that, but 7:40 or something like that. So it's not light enough to work outside. But that shows you what our daylight's like right now. So let's say 7:45, and it gets dark at 4:30 something. So even though Callie wants to go out to fetch, I'm not ready for at least another half an hour, Callie. So to warm up a little bit, although it's just snowing. There's no sun coming out today. Okay? Not yet, pup. Wanted to show you the bag that I'm setting up. Now that winter looks like it's definitely here to stay. Got lots of snow out there. It's, what do we have? It's 2 feet in some places for sure. Especially where the snow's not in direct contact with the ground, because the ground is still warm under all of that, because we got snow before the ground froze. But there's quite a bit anyway in the bush. It's getting hard to walk already, and I'm starting to create paths to all the things that I go to regularly, and so is she. But anything outside of that gets difficult to walk, any distance especially. So the snowshoes are out. I'll start wearing those probably after the next snowfall, and we're supposed to get another 6 inches tonight actually, so 15 centimeters of snow, maybe another couple tomorrow. So lots of snow for traveling. Hopefully the ice on the lakes is firming up. Supposed to get some nice cold temperatures over the next few days as well. Anyway, what I'm putting together here is my winter, basically, traveling safety kit. Kelly, don't do that, please. Hey, come on. So I've got this big oiled canvas, wax canvas bag here. It's just quite a large size, but it's got a lot of pockets in it, and it's really durable. So what I'm doing is setting this up as a permanent emergency bag, essentially. So it'll be something I take on every outdoor trip for the winter, and it'll include things like my ice fishing gear. So first aid kit, emergency blanket, duct tape, which is good for everything. I use that actually. You can use it as a tourniquet. I can use it as a wound repair to hold wounds together, but also any kind of equipment repair as well. So I always have duct tape no matter what kind of trips I'm doing. I've got spare blades for my ice auger for ice fishing, drilling holes. Got 50 feet of paracord, and I'll name off all the other things that I'm still putting together, grabbing from other kits here, and also some stuff I still need to purchase. Here's kind of the giveaway of what this is for. Not the giveaway, but reveal of why I'm putting this bag together. This is a heavy duty ratchet strap. It's good up to 5,000 pounds, I think, and that's used for basically as a winch for hauling stuff like a stuck snowmobile out of the snow. And a couple wrenches, and I'll probably replace those with fixed wrenches once I know what sizes I need. And a whole bunch of other stuff. Tarp I'll have in here. I'll have spare fishing gear, ice fishing gear. I'll have snare wire. Actually, I'm going to be carrying my little survival shotgun, folding shotgun. That's a folding shotgun, one shot. So I still have to add to it some food bars. I've got a compass in there, shotguns in there, little Esbit stove. Got this little tiny stove that you use little fuel tablets to cook with. Got a knife that I'll always have in there. Got an Nalgene bottle, water purification tabs, the stainless mug that I always use for camping because I can put that right on fire to boil water to make it safe for drinking. I'll have at least one candle in there for starting fires, a headlamp, what else? Warm clothing, whistle, mirror, an axe. I'll actually carry my small axe in there at all times. And the Agawa Canyon folding bow saw as well, that with the spare blade, that will be in that kit. Tow strap, I'll probably just use that winch as a tow strap, or that ratchet. A tarp, yeah, I've got a couple of really lightweight tarps. I'll put one of those in the kit, leave it in there for good. Have a Leatherman multi-tool, wrenches like I said, and spare drive belt and spare spark plugs for the machine. Oh, and snowshoes, I'll have snowshoes probably attached to the bag if they're not on me, or if they're not attached to the machine somewhere. A lot of this stuff I'll actually have on me, like first aid kit, smaller first aid kit, and snare wire, extra lighters. I'll probably have like 5, 6, 7 lighters in there, plus waterproof matches, and some of those will be on my body at all times, so in a pocket. Knife's always on my belt. A number of things that if I was to get separated from my main gear, let's say I was to go through the ice and the bag was not retrievable, then I want to make sure I have enough gear on me that I could get a fire going, especially, and survive. I'll probably add also maybe my spot emergency beacon to reactivate that, because the cell phone doesn't work. As soon as I get 50 feet beyond the cabin, actually, my cell phone doesn't work. It's just rare thing that it works here at all. It just happened to be high enough that there's a tower, I guess, within reach. But typically, like I said, anywhere else on the property and then beyond the property and on most of the lakes I go to, there's no cell phone service. So that is what I'm up to. I've decided that there's just too many things I'm missing out on by not having a machine to get around on up here. There's the ice fishing that I mentioned, there's retrieving firewood and exploring, and it's just too limiting when you get into those deep snowpacks at this time of year, or throughout the winter. It gets too deep to travel much other than your regular path, so it's just too limiting. I don't want to be sitting around here all winter not being able to get out there, get firewood, get fish, and explore. And probably the bigger issue, even though both my wife and I do like to snowshoe, and we'll do a lot of snowshoeing almost every day actually in the winter, getting her and Callie to go the distances I want to go is just not really possible. So what the machine allows us to do is to travel further and more often. So I'll let you know what that is in an upcoming video, what the machine is, how we're accommodating Callie, and what we're going to be doing with it. And soon, I've already actually taken it for a spin here, and just on the road, in the closed road. This is a dead end road that we're on here, so there's unplowed areas not far up the road, so we were able to go down there to test out the machine, and it worked well for the three of us. So I'll reveal that, I don't know, in the next few weeks. I don't know if it'll be before Christmas or not. Probably want to be able to show you off-trail stuff, and really want the trails or the ground to firm up a little bit, and the lakes, to go on any lakes. But for sure, I won't go on the lakes until I know they're 100%, and I'll test those. But I mean, the ground itself is too muddy underneath, so getting off trail or off roads or forestry roads means almost guaranteed I'm going to get stuck. So that's my announcement for this week. But for now, I guess I better get outside and use the trails that I have. I got to dig out all those logs for the sauna before the snow comes tonight. I dug what I could out yesterday, and it's so encrusted in ice and hard packed snow, because we had that thaw and then we had some rain and then snow on top of that again, that it's getting very, very difficult to get those out. So I better expose them now, let the fresh, colder snow sit on top, and I can easily shovel that off. So, time to get outside. Hey gosh, I know you're impatient. A lot of people ask me what I would do differently if I was building this cabin from scratch again. There probably is some things. For one thing, when I started the idea of this cabin, the plan wasn't to spend this much time in it. It was more of a sort of a hobby thing, or recreation of the cabin, the lifestyle, or like the recreational lifestyle that I set up, or tried to set up when I was in my early 20s. So I wasn't envisioning this being a home. It was more of a hunt camp or a man cave kind of thing. But since it's developed, there's things that become more important, like the sauna that I'm building. And the outhouse started off as a thunderbox, if you remember that video right near the beginning of this property, which is just a box over a pit with no outhouse around it, no structure to keep you, out of the elements, out of the rain and the cold and stuff. So that changed. The sauna changed. The outdoor kitchen, it was an afterthought when I realized I need to cook my meals in the summer comfortably all of the time, not just when I'm like camping or something. So some things changed. So this cabin itself evolved. I was starting off building just a 10 by 10 basically trapper's shanty, trapper's cabin, and then it evolved when my wife got interested and involved in this, and then it doubled in size, doubled in height. Now I put the loft in there, so it pretty much tripled or quadrupled in usable space over my original plan. The logs are, now I'm going to get into this next video. If you want to keep checking in, I'm finally going to answer the question about how much this cost to build, because I finally just calculated it like an hour ago. I spent a couple hours going around looking at all the materials, make sure I didn't miss anything. So the logs, it probably would not have changed much, so I still end up with these 12-foot logs that, maximum 10-foot interior wall was all I could get unless I spliced these logs, which I did down the long side. That's a long way of saying that if I could have changed anything, I probably would have spent more time leveling this ground out, collecting more rocks, running the cabin this way so that the broad side is facing south. I'd still have my entrance exactly where it is now, but more of the cabin wall would be facing south to collect sunlight and to collect heat from the sun. So I would have then had, say, the door in the center, a window on both sides, and let all that light in from the south. Now what that also would have allowed me to do is put an airlock. I've always been sketching out houses that I wanted to build ever since I was a teenager, and cabins, and I always felt very strongly about having what, I'm not sure if there's another term for it, what I call an airlock, which is essentially like a mudroom type thing. So there would be a building section coming out here with another door, so that when you come in, you close the one door behind you before you open this one, so that none of the cold air is rushing in. So my issue right now, and the reason I'm explaining it to you right now, is it's hot in there now, but I'm running out of firewood inside, so I'm putting more firewood in, and I have to leave the door open to do that. So I'm leaving it open for like 10 minutes and letting all the hot air out or the cold air in. So ideally, that's one of the changes I would have done. I would have changed the orientation of the building. I would have put a double door, and if I felt really strongly about it, in other words, if this cabin was not heating up as much as it was with the stove that I have, if I was concerned about not being warm enough, then I would build an airlock on the inside. So I'd step through this door into a little tiny 4x4 or 5x5 room, and then have another door going into the cabin. The cabin's small, as you know, so that I would hate to do that. It would be using up a lot of usable space that I'm using in there now, and I'd have to be concerned about the setback from the stove. So it would be very narrow that way, and then probably have to come like all the way over to here, and then a door and then you need to have room for the door to open. I guess I could swing it inwards, but anyway, it would also darken the space. So very, very unlikely that I'll ever end up doing it. And the other thing is, do I end up ever putting a front porch on here at all that's enclosed? That remains to be seen as well. That's still a possibility. If I was to do anything to the front here, it would be that, I guess. maybe with full windows even in the front here, so it continues to collect sunlight and then light into the cabin. I'd probably end up having to put a window in this door. And then out of the weather, I think if I hadn't have built this outdoor kitchen with this pavilion, this would have been a much higher priority project, putting a porch on here, because there's lots of times nice to sit outside, especially all summer and fall, without, and be dry. This overhang is good if the wind is not coming from the south. I can stand out here or sit there in the rain, but most of the time I can't, and the snow is blowing in here too. So the pavilion has been a space that I end up going out and hanging out there, or doing stuff on the countertops in there, even when I'm not cooking, because it's a sheltered space. So there you go, long explanation.